Good evening, I'm Jackson Gosnell in for Wyatt Sharp tonight. Vivek Ramaswamy is a rising star in the Republican Party who has drummed up a lot of support in recent history. But now his new campaign fundraising strategy has a lot of people talking. It's a non-traditional approach to raising money. It's called Vivek's Kitchen Cabinet, in which organizers can receive 10% commissions on the donations or fundraising that they do. A lot of people think that it's weird, it's strange, it's a non-traditional approach. So joining me now is Stefan Mychajliw, a campaign official for Vivek Ramaswamy, to discuss this.
Great idea, because it takes political power away from the ruling class and elites and gives it to people. Vivek Ramaswamy is a business owner and a political outsider. And when he first ran for president, he met with big donors. And they said, sure, we're going to bundle money for you. We're going to take a 10 to 20% cut. And then, of course, since we're raising money for you, we may want something in return. And Vivek wanted no part of that. And he figured, if we're building a grassroots movement, a true movement across the country, why not have voters have skin in the game? And if they're going to support me anyway, maybe donate, that he's going to give voters and people a 10% cut. It's no different than hiring a professional bundler, but in this case, it takes power away from the elites and gives it to the people.
Why not just fundraise like all the other campaigns? I know you touched on that a little bit, but maybe you want to go more in depth. I know you said that some people might want something in return, and perhaps that isn't the strategy that the campaign is looking for. But when you look at others like Nikki Haley or Donald Trump or all these other names in this race, they're not doing the same thing, or at least it doesn't appear that way. So again, why this approach? Why not just do it the way everybody else does it?
You're helping me make the point, because Vivek is the only business owner and political outsider in this race for the White House. He has personal skin in the game, putting $15 million of his own money into this race. And he said publicly before that he'll spend up to $100 million in the race for the White House. Vivek Ramaswamy is not running for the paycheck, not at all. Again, he's a very successful business owner. He does not need the money. And so he doesn't want to be beholden to the donor class like other politicians. He's living the arc of the American dream. He's made billions of dollars and created multi-billion-dollar companies. So he is in the fortunate and blessed position to be able to self-finance and put his own money into the race. And he's already going to be on the debate stage. This has nothing to do with generating $1 donations like other campaigns. Vivek has far more than 60,000 unique donors, which qualifies him for the 3 debates. So he's a business owner, political outsider, and he does not rely, like other politicians, on the elite political donor class.
I was just about to ask about the debate stage, because I was watching some of the cable channels just before this interview to get familiar with this, and I was watching a guest that was on one of the cable news channels was saying Vivek is struggling to meet the threshold to get on the debate stage, but it's my understanding he's already met the threshold.
That's correct. That talking head really needs to learn how to use the Google machine. Because for quite some time, we've already said that Vivek Ramaswamy not only met the 40,000 unique donor threshold put in place by the RNC, he has far more than that, far more than 60,000 unique donors in more than 20 states across America. So he is going to be on the debate stage regardless. He will be there, and he's going to share his message of being a business owner, political outsider who wants to lead a national revival.
I want to ask you about Vivek's poll numbers. Obviously, he is not polling in first place, and I know his response to that is nobody this early is where they will be at the end. But I want to talk about young people, because Vivek is obviously pretty young himself, and he's very popular amongst younger Republican groups. Do you think that momentum will be enough to carry him all the way to the White House? And will he be able to draw support from older people who perhaps are looking at someone like Donald Trump, who they supported in the last 2 presidential elections?
He most certainly will. Vivek Ramaswamy is running a campaign of results, not one of vengeance and grievance and anger, one that's going to take Donald Trump's America First agenda to the next level. Take the border, for instance. We have to do more than just say we're going to build a wall. Of course, the cartels can tunnel right under it and the wall was never built. And that's why Vivek Ramaswamy wants to actually use the U.S. military to secure the border and to bomb cartels. You mentioned moving up in the polls, and think about when Donald Trump went down the escalator that very first time. He was in the low single digits in 2015. People knew him, but they didn't take his campaign seriously. Vivek Ramaswamy is hitting double digits in polls and is far ahead than we ever imagined, farther ahead than Donald Trump was at a similar time in his campaign going back to 2016. So we look forward to the debate stage. The United States of America is going to be really introduced to Vivek Ramaswamy for the first time amongst presidential candidates, where he's going to lay out his vision for basically taking away the deep state, destroying the deep state, the United States of America, shutting down the FBI, the Department of Education, and GDP growth, growing our economy so that we're not focused on the Republican idea of just cutting taxes and the Democrat idea of just spending money. The debate stage is going to be crucial for Vivek to get his message to the American people in a wide audience for the first time.
If he's already met the requirement for the debate stage, then why introduce this new fundraising model? I mean, is it just to drum up more funds to be able to travel across the country? I know he's making a lot of stops and really trying to get his name out there.
The bigger picture is really taking political power away from elites, away from the donor class that will bundle money and take a 10 or 20% cut, line their pockets, and then want something in return for their financial support. Vivek Ramaswamy says all the time, we're not running a campaign, we're running a movement. And what better way to be a part of that grassroots movement is to have skin in the game. And why not let people raise money for a candidate and they would take a 10% cut? I was joking with Vivek. I have 4 kids, 3 children who are 5 and under. I may sign up. Diapers and formula is pretty expensive. I may sign up and help Vivek raise funds. But the bigger picture is it's really just to take political muscle and power away from the traditional political elites and give the power back to the people.
Do you think Vivek is ultimately going to be successful in this? I mean, I'm sure you do, working for his campaign, but why is he the best choice, and why do you ultimately believe he will be victorious?
He will be victorious. Vivek Ramaswamy will be the next president of the United States in 2024 right now. He is in this race to win it. The most important point is now more than ever, we need a business owner and a political outsider to be the next president of the United States. Donald Trump was that outsider once. You can only be an outsider once, and that was in 2016. Right now, you need someone who's not connected to the establishment or the deep state to destroy it. And that is Vivek's big part of his platform as president of the United States, shutting down the FBI, shutting down the Department of Education. There's so much rot in a lot of these 3-letter agencies that you absolutely cannot reform it. You're going to shut it down. Affirmative action. Other presidents have had the power to actually end the executive order. It was 11246, that executive order that implemented affirmative action within the federal government. Vivek Ramaswamy, with a swoop of the pen, is going to get rid of that on day one. So the reason why I firmly believe he's going to be the next president of the United States is that voters will want a business owner and political outsider, and he's the only one in this race that fits that category.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Stefan. Appreciate your insight and time.
Thank you.